And I'm not going to let parents come into schools and actually take books out and make their own decision.
You vetoed it.
So, yeah, I stopped the bill that I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach.
Really? Remember that soundbite? Well, the good old lunatics on the left just don't know how to take a hint. Did Glenn Youngkin's last-minute rise in the polls and big victory in Pennsylvania not teach these liberals a lesson? That parents do want and should have a say in what cultural and social and all curriculum issues, right? That their kids are being taught in public schools. Clearly they haven't. You know why? I've got another case in point right here for you. Because the 1619 Project, folks, matter of fact, one of the founders here, Nicole Neily, says that she doesn't understand why parents should decide what gets taught in their kids' classrooms. How are these people so detached from reality? I mean, this woman is almost like a glorified cult leader, right? She wrote a book on all this nonsense, too.
I don't really understand this idea that parents should decide what's being taught. I'm not a professional educator. I don't have a degree in social studies or science. We send our children to school because we want them to be taught by people who have an expertise in the subject area. And that is not my job.
Now listen how she lies right there. There's the disconnect. She's saying we're not professionals when it comes to math, social studies, science, whatever. That's right. That's not what parents are upset you're teaching, you wackos. We're upset you're teaching the CRT BS. Right? We want reading, writing, and arithmetic. We don't want the rest of it you liberals are throwing in. Nicole Neily is the president of Parents Defending Education. She's a parent like me who has a lot to say about this subject matter. Nicole, welcome back to the program. They're doubling down. Nicole comes back out again and says, even after that crushing loss, and we all know, and I'm not trying to downplay Winsome Sears and Glenn Youngkin's win, because they're great people. I think they won on merit, policy, and just being real. But that was the big push. That was the push that pushed them over the edge, was the whole thing with McAuliffe saying parents shouldn't be involved. And as you've learned running an organization that helps parents get involved, yes, parents want to be and parents should be involved in their child's education in the public school system, right?
Absolutely. Parents want to be involved, and they are not going away. And how dare people like Nicole Hannah-Jones, Terry McAuliffe, and everybody else tell us, sit down, shut up, keep your mouth shut, and leave it to us, right? I mean, this is this very Clinton-era mindset of it takes a village and trust the experts. And honestly, I mean, what has trusting the experts gotten us over the past several years? Let's look at the state of education in America right now.
Please.
Learning loss, astonishing. Depression, mental health, at all-time lows. Our children are probably, and this is obviously hitting the most vulnerable students harder than anybody else. Children who will not make up this 2 years of being forced to go to Zoom school, wear a mask, not interact with adults. And so this is what we are seeing. Parents are mad that they're eliminating gifted and talented programs in the name of equity. In Oregon, they've actually eliminated graduation requirements in the name of equity, which basically implies that there are some children based on the color of your skin who you just can't ever learn how to read, and so we don't want you to feel bad about yourself. That is the most condescending, paternalistic, why would you teach a child like that? It's no wonder children's mental health.
And Nicole, take a step back even before the big CRT push over the last couple of years and the COVID BS. Back up 3-4 years. Let's go before that, okay? And let's talk about our graduation rates. Let's talk about the level of education that some minorities were receiving as far as how many were passing math and science, basic classes. Public schools were already failing our children and a lot of minority communities as well before the CRT push. So how do these educators think that they were already doing a good job? The numbers, right? Because numbers are facts, and you can't lie about math. Yes, I'm sorry, math is math. You can't change it and say, no, 2 + 2 isn't 4, according to some of these wackos. It is, and you guys were failing our kids before the CRT crap.
Right, absolutely. Public education is a one-size-fits-all factory that has failed children across this country for years and years and years. And think about the fact that spending on public education has doubled over the past 40 years. Our outcomes are not any better. In fact, in many instances, they're far worse. And so children do deserve better. And I think, if we can say that there is a silver lining to the pandemic, it's that so many parents suddenly had their eyes opened as to what their children were actually learning during the school day. There is a finite period of time in which you can teach a child something. And so instead of teaching our children to read, to write, to do math, science, they are teaching our children to hate each other, to identify themselves based on immutable characteristics. This is a zero-sum equation. And so throw more money at the problem. But our children are suffering. And I mean, we are not going away. We see this now as parents, and we are not going to be pushed around by people like Nicole Jones.
Yeah, I'm glad that you pointed out that silver lining, that during the COVID lockdown, because we were all at home and the kids were at home, a lot of parents looked over the shoulder and heard the teacher saying some crazy stuff like, well, you don't have to. And we've shown the videos to back it up, so I don't want anybody to take this clip and try to lie like I'm making up stuff. There's been how many clips of teachers over the last couple of years during COVID saying, you don't have to salute the flag. Our country is racist. You're an oppressor because you're white. These are the things parents started hearing walking past the kid's room and then going, what did your teacher just say? And we should have been involved years and years before. And let me just say all this because I'd like to get a disclaimer in, Nicole, before you and I move on. I'm not throwing all teachers under the bus. There are some amazing teachers out there. They've reached out to me. They're sick and fed up with some of the BS that's being pushed by school boards, by principals, and by some of their fellow teachers. This is a thing just like the cop thing. Let's not throw all cops under the bus because you have a few dumb cops who may be racist or abuse their power. Well, there's some bad teachers that abuse their power in the classroom, and they're brainwashing our kids. It used to be just stuck on college campuses. Now it's going all the way down to elementary schools, for crying out loud.
Right. And so parents, I think it's very simple. This should not be a partisan issue. They want to know what their children are learning. They want their children to have measurable outcomes. They want their children to actually be getting better. And we're not getting those things from our school system right now. Instead we see districts spending hundreds, thousands, millions of dollars bringing in these diversity consultants that are sowing division, that are, taking away from classroom instruction, where we should be making up this egregious learning loss that our children have faced since the pandemic. But school districts have made affirmatively bad choices. They have said, you know what, we're not going to fix what's broken. We're going to spend money on this other thing. And our children deserve better than to follow the new shiny object. Our children deserve how to learn to read, to write, so they can compete in a global marketplace. This is doing a disservice to our country, and everyone should be concerned, whether you have children in school or not. Exactly,
because what's the phrase we've all learned? Children are our future. Remember the song, okay? Teach them well and they will lead the way. They're our most valuable asset, yet we're brainwashing them. Here's one more example, because when I do these segments, I like the proof. What's the old phrase? The proof's in the pudding. So here's one for you, and I'm sure you saw this. Paradise Valley Unified School District, I believe that's somewhere near Phoenix, Arizona. They are considering, they haven't yet, but they're considering using this curriculum for math, okay? Now, folks, leave this up in the back so viewers can really focus in on that right corner graphic. So they're teaching them about charts and graphs, right? But Nicole, there's the close-up. Do you see what they're using in the chart and the graph? Measuring racial prejudice by political identification. Oh my goodness. So slightly conservative, moderately conservative, very conservative. They're, according to this chart, while you're teaching a, fifth grader math, they're more racist. But liberals and very liberal, oh, look way on the left of the chart. They're not as racial. Who the hell makes up these books, and who in their right mind, sitting on a school board or a principal at this school, I'm calling Paradise Valley today in Arizona, comes up with this crap and thinks they should use this and teach our kids this? This is disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, that implicit bias test has been widely rebuked. I mean, obviously debunked. It's total garbage. Yet we have districts that are spending money on buying textbooks like this. Telling children that math is racist, getting the right answer, showing your work. We hear from a lot of people who are not Republicans, they're not conservatives, they're first-generation Americans who say, don't tell my kid getting the right answer in math class is racist. Teach my child calculus so they can apply to MIT and have a better life for themselves. How dare you do this?
Yeah.
And we are affirmatively holding children back from success because we don't want to hurt other children who maybe are not at the same level. That is not how we succeed as a country, and that's one of the many reasons parents are angry and will not be going away.
And I'm so glad you brought that up because, OAN's based here in California, unfortunately, and we're in San Diego, and I've gone out to some of the protests and rallies that a lot of parents have been putting on in front of the San Diego Unified School District building. And let me tell you, that crowd of 300-400, the last one I went to, these are not well, maybe a couple, conservatives. These are independent, libertarians, Democrats, apolitical people. They're parents, and they're pissed. They want to learn more, Nicole, about Parents Defending Education, your group. How do they do so?
Sure. Our website is defendinged.org. We're on all the normal social media platforms, so you can find us. We have a tip line, so if you see something going on in your child's school, in your grandchild's school, send it to us. You can do so anonymously, and then we will get it out to diligent members of the press like you, because sunshine is the best disinfectant. The only way we can fix this is if we expose what's going on in our schools.
Love that phrase. And Nicole, what you just said, please do it, because sometimes they send them to me, I see them, I don't, but they send them directly to you folks. Nicole will get them to us. We will get it on this network and expose it to the viewers. So thank you, Nicole Neily, for what you guys are doing over there. God bless you. Have a good New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.